And we are on. Hello and welcome to Sports Unhinged. I am Mo and I'm joined by Ujita and Coach. We are back. Week 15 of the NFL has started with the Thursday night football. But let us start here, guys, with the AFC and what seems to be a three-horse race going on right now. Kansas City last week with a 34-28 win over the Broncos. The Broncos are the third team to be mathematically out of the playoffs. I think Russell Wilson got concussed in that one. Buffalo beating the New York Jets 20-12, both at 10-3 right now. They've got Cincinnati breathing down their neck. Coach, let's start with you. This looks like a three-horse race for the top of the AFC. You've got two teams at 10-3, one at 9-4. Actually, two at 9-4 with the Ravens, but we're kind of taking them out a little bit because of the quarterback situation. Do you see Buffalo holding on to the number one spot in the AFC?
So before I comment, even though you are the leader of the podcast and move us around and answer, the boss man up there seems to think that we have a four-horse race. Mm-hmm. We'll let him speak, and then I will comment on your three.
Well, right. No, he covered it. That's all right. I was thinking Baltimore in the races, but you're right with the whole quarterback thing.
I mean, do you think that Baltimore have a chance of actually clinching the number one spot in the AFC? I've counted them out.
Number one spot? Nah, probably not. But, you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, if you take what's happened KC and Buffalo the last 2 weeks, yeah, there are small things that they do makes you think, hey, they could drop a game or two. You know, Buffalo's done that. KC's done that. Dallas did that with your Houston Texans the other night. So this is where you can never be sure. But go ahead, Coach.
Doesn't Cincinnati and Buffalo play Week 17?
They do play Week 17.
Yeah.
So Buffalo have Miami, and then they're at Chicago, then Cincinnati, then they end the season with New England. And then Cincinnati are at Tampa Bay this week, then at New England, then Buffalo, and then Baltimore. So it's actually New England are always in the mix there. And then you've got the other three horses in the race are there as well.
I think Kansas City plays the majority of their Final Four in their division.
Yeah, right? And Houston, Seattle, Denver, and then the Raiders. Yeah, so pretty easy. Yeah,
Seattle's not looking that good. Denver and the Raiders. Yeah, you never know which team with the Raiders is going to show up in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Probably if I'm picking, I would say Kansas City would probably be the number one seed. I think we'll know much more about Buffalo when they play Miami. I think you'll see with that'll be a playoff style atmosphere with that team. I think when they really gear it up and decide to really play and coach it up and plan for it, I think that's what you'll see. Plus, I think it's going to be in the snow, which is great for Buffalo. Yep. I think it'll hurt Miami, but if I'm picking today, I would pick Kansas City 100% the one seed. I would pick Buffalo or whatever the next order is. Probably be Buffalo, Cincinnati.
The winner between Buffalo and Cincinnati,
but it could be Cincinnati number 2, Buffalo number 3. And then who's the South? Oh, never.
Baltimore.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Baltimore and Cincinnati are the same.
Yeah.
Tennessee, the South. All right.
Tennessee.
There you go.
The imposters. I mean,
they're not very good right now either. Not at all. Probably for me, Kansas City.
Ujita, I mean, you had picked Buffalo. We kind of stuck with Buffalo throughout. Do you see that changing?
I mean, I might go with what Coach is saying because obviously Kansas has an easier route, coming up with Denver and Raiders. I think where Buffalo may falter, I don't think they're going to falter with Miami. Miami's kind of faltering last couple of weeks. I think where they will have an issue is with Cincinnati. I think Week 17, that's when they play Cincinnati. This is where they might, and because they're 10-3, looks like KC's going to win the rest of the game. So I think they'll probably end up seed 1. Barring any calamities that Mahomes and the crew will have. So KC 1, Buffalo 2. I think Cincinnati at 3, 4 is probably Baltimore. I don't see Miami or Tennessee making up that far.
There's a really good chance the winner of the Buffalo Cincinnati game, Week 17, is your 2 seed probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably.
Could be.
Unless your Houston Texans pull an upset against Kansas City this week. I mean, they came close against Dallas last week.
How about our 2-quarterback system? Well, I know it's not on the rundown, but
yeah.
How about that 2-quarterback system keeping them off balance?
It's working. They're still 1-11-1, but hey,
it's all good.
Just trying to get to the draft, baby. Where there's always hope in the draft.
All right, let's move over to the West Coast there. The San Francisco 49ers. I mean, Brock Purdy, a rookie quarterback, 3rd round out of, I think, was it Iowa State? I'm not sure. 35-7 win against Tampa Bay, and just last night, Thursday Night Football, and 21-13 win against Seattle, clinching the NFC West, and currently at a 10-4 record. Is he better than we think, Ujita? I mean, we talked about this last week. We kind of ruled out San Francisco having any chance at winning the Super Bowl. Having seen 2 games now against good opponents, you're talking about Tom Brady's Tampa Bay and then Geno Smith's Seattle. Is a Super Bowl hype back for San Francisco?
First of all, I want to say that I'm glad Philly will probably not meet San Fran till about the championship game, the way the seeding is set up now, because that's how worrying they are. They've got probably the best defense in the league. And what we've got with Purdy now is something I think is a bit more better than Jimmy G in terms of fitting into Shanahan's system. Okay, and I don't know if you guys saw the game last night. It's the coaching base, because Shanahan called that play. It's a 2-pump fake, then a throw to Kittle for a touchdown. I mean, first of all, you're coming off a game on Monday, and 3 days later you're playing Thursday, so you're 2-0 in 3 days with a 3rd-string quarterback. I mean, that's got to be on the coaching, and he seems to be fitting it in so well. He's using McCaffrey really well. Debo, I think Debo's hurt, so it's not that much on Debo. He's using Kittle. Yeah. The run game's pretty good, and then and he doesn't have to do too much on offense because the defense really keeps them in the game. So the other thing, which the difference between him and Jimmy is Purdy is getting a lot of explosive play outside the numbers, which Jimmy wasn't able to do. It's either it's an off throw or it's an interception. So they've got I think they've got a little bit of an edge on Jimmy with Purdy under center. So
now, we mentioned coaching, but coach, with the way they're playing right now, trying to kind of get Purdy to do his best, is it coming at a price? Because Debo Samuel got away with a very serious knee injury, could have been a very serious knee injury. And the reason for that is because they're running him through the middle quite a bit, trying to not have so much, like Ujita said, yes, he's doing well outside the numbers, but there are a lot of plays that are going through the middle. Is that going to come at a cost with one of their top players getting injured with that many plays through the middle?
Oh, I think it definitely could be. I haven't watched the game or the highlights from last night, but one of the things I did read was the statistics, and they also gave McCaffrey a ton of touches. Now, I know it's because Samuel's hurt, but at the same time, as I understand it, 70% of those touches were in between the tackles. Right. And as we always know with McCaffrey in his days of Carolina, if you run him that often in the tackles, he gets hurt. So we've got to be careful with that. I'd slow my roll a little bit on San Francisco in general. Let's be honest here. Tampa Bay is not the offensive juggernaut they once were. Seattle is not a good offensive team. They've won, but not offensively. I think their average score was like 24.3 points. So it's not like they're lighting it up offensively. When you put them, let's say, against Dallas or Philly, I'm not sure that those offenses can be held in check, let's say, 2 weeks in a row to get them to the Super Bowl. So I do think the kid's playing well. I do. I think the coaching's been good. I think it reminds me a lot. I think I said this last week, but it reminds me a lot of Baltimore when they had the really outstanding defense and Trent Dilfer just didn't make mistakes and they won the Super Bowl. So I can see that definitely happen with this kid, but I'm not sure you'll go out and see them light it up offensively to outscore people to win the games if they ever have to. And that's why I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender.
If they get to the Super Bowl, hypothetically here, what do they do next year with the quarterback situation? Do they let go of Trey Lance and have Brock Purdy, start? Do you just bring back Trey Lance and Purdy becomes the backup? What do they do here?
I don't know. I think Lance is still on his rookie deal one more year, so they don't have to make that decision until 2024. Not 2023. So he'll have 2 years left on his rookie deal, so he can play in 23, and then they decide. So they don't have to make a decision. Now they'll have to make a decision on who's starting. And I think Shanahan has definitely made the decision that Lance is their guy. He was comfortable with him. He thought he could run the offense, and that's why they started him and not Jimmy G. But I think he's also proven with some coaching and some time, and he can run the offense with anyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, losing to San Francisco, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are at 6-7. So they're leading the South with a under 500 record here.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I can't believe it. The Panthers are a game away from leading the division. But hey, let's talk about Tampa Bay for a bit. They go up against the Bengals this week. Ujita, do you think this is a must-win for them? Do you think things start falling off the rails completely if they lose to the Bengals this week?
I'm glad you said the word completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that this Cincinnati game matters. I mean, they're off the rails already. And
as in lose the division. I mean, they were leading by 2 games, and now the Panthers, out of all people, have a chance.
It all depends how the Panthers turn up for the next 4 weeks. I mean, I'm not going to ride you guys out because the last couple of weeks, the Panthers they've got a real run game. They got a real defense. So there is a chance for the Panthers to get up there. But the Tampa Bay, I don't know what I think is that this whole thing with Brady, his divorce and all this other stuff has really distracted the team, not just him.
Not him. Yeah.
And you don't see this real fight or spirit and I don't know, they've got injuries. I think even last week, even Vita Vea had some issues. They've got issues on defense. So, and earlier on, they had issues on their receivers being out as well. So all that taken into account, I think they've just lost that fight in them to, really get things going. And I mean, it doesn't really matter, the Cincinnati game. I think they've got to look to next year. What do we do next year? Stay with Brady? Do we?
Yeah, I mean, should Brady keep playing? I mean, that's another question.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he might choose to keep playing because, he's getting divorced and stuff.
He's got nothing left, No, I'm telling you, like his wife is gone. His money was in FTX, that crypto exchange. That's gone.
He's got a few rings, but he's got nothing left because the woman left him. All right, okay. I see
no. I'm talking about his money as well. His money was in that FTX crypto exchange.
Yeah, well, that's another distraction. I think
only a few million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so, he's got nothing left. He's got nothing left in football either, man. He's really struggling.
Oh yeah, he's struggling. Well, I mean, look at compare what he's going up. He's going up against the new caliber quarterback, Burrows.
Yeah.
These are the guys of the future: Hurts, Burrows, Allen, Mahomes. These pocket passing Tom Brady type of guys. I don't know where they fit in the future. So they got to look next year, man.
I like how I'm sitting here in my...
He's a free agent too, right? He's a free agent, so he's not even under contract, right?
No, I'm saying I like how I'm sitting here in my apartment, talking about the greatest of all time and saying that he's got nothing left.
He's got nothing left.
But I'm just saying, like, in terms of like...
He's wishful thinking. Come on. Come on.
One more.
People like to pile on when they see someone fall from the top, right? All right. Speaking about almost falling from the top here, the Cowboys with a nerve-wracking win, 27-23 win over the 1-11-1 Houston Texans. Ezekiel Elliott with a game-winning touchdown. They're now 10-3 and probably 1 win away from officially clinching a wild card spot. Last week, Coach, we asked if right now it looks like they're going to play the winner of the South, and if they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you said, yeah, that should be an easy thing. The Buccaneers don't look like themselves. Dare I ask, if the winner of the NFC South are the Carolina Panthers, is that a tougher game for the Dallas Cowboys, just on the premise that the Panthers have nothing to lose and they'll just go for it? Do you think there's a chance there? Sam Darnold led.
I don't care about Carolina or Dallas. You answer that question yourself. How dare you ask me that question? I thought we were going to talk about my Texans and how well they played. And this turned into a Carolina Panthers question. Give me a break.
All right. Let's talk about your Texans first, then I'll talk about my Panthers.
I'll answer them both. I think Dallas is notorious for playing down to their competition instead of just putting the foot on the throat. I'll compliment Philadelphia this year, especially when they play bad teams, they beat them badly. I think they've only had one really bad game, and it wasn't against a bad team, as it's turning out. Yeah. In terms of them playing Dallas, Carolina, somewhere in someone's heaven. I'm not sure where that is or whose heaven. However, you know what? They control their own destiny. I like that too.
Carolina have got Pittsburgh, they've got Detroit, then they're at Tampa, and then they end the season at New Orleans. So it's
50-50.
Yeah, but and I think if Tampa loses one, they can lose one. So they can go 3-1 as long as it's not Tampa or New Orleans.
Yeah.
As long as they win those two. Detroit's thriving, so they might not beat them. You never know.
I like our chances against Pittsburgh. I mean, I think that's winnable.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you have a chance in anyone's dream or nightmare to beat the Cowboys. If they're 5 and you're 4 as the lowest division winner seed. I don't think so.
I think the Panthers is a team nobody wants to play in the playoffs just because of the unpredictability. I don't think we're going to reach the playoffs, but if we do, I think that defense could do something. I don't know.
I think they would much rather play the Panthers than the chance of Tom Brady getting in the playoffs.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
you're talking about the man that has nothing left?
No one wants to play those Panthers, man. I'll tell you.
The teams that no one wants to play are Tampa Bay, the LA Chargers, not banana peel games like Carolina Panthers and Texans. Yeah, all right.
I think people are hoping to God it's Carolina and Detroit, somewhere in there. I definitely don't think, in all truth, I think Dallas, I think personally Dallas is probably the team to beat outside the number 1 seed of Philly.
I'm sorry, as a Carolina fan, I've been breathing in a lot of hope.
Everybody, you're breathing
a lot of hope here lately.
The Kool-Aid.
You've been breathing hope and smoking some unnatural stuff.
At that moment that Nebraska hired the old coach and saved you $55 million, it's like Carolina is a new team.
We're ready. Super Bowl, baby. Let's go.
We're ready for business.
All right.
Ray of hope.
Let's not take away credit from Houston here against the Cowboys. I think we kind of brushed over that very quickly. They're 1-11-1. We know that, but do you see, Coach, that there are enough pieces now in that team that a rebuild is possible with the draft coming up? Number 1 pick position. They could probably even trade that for a few first, second round picks if they want. Do you see that this could be a turnaround season next year for them?
That's a tough question. What I really want to be scared of here, because I am a Texans person, this is the first time I really think they made a mindset to run the football. And I think that their offensive line, because of quite a few new pieces, they were trying to do a lot of RPO with the pass, not necessarily RPO the end and run the ball no matter what, right? And I think this game, they really made a specific determination to run it. Now, they did it with 2-quarterback system. I don't care about that. But I think the offensive line looked more at home when they were running the ball and they're firing off and they know exactly where they're going to do and what schemes they're going to block. I think that's the first time I've seen it maybe all year that they were able to do that against Dallas. Yeah. at the same time, I think it also takes the pressure off their defense, which is not very good, where they can at least play a little bit. But I still think that was more about Dallas being in a down game and playing down to the competition. And they've been talking about Philly that all week and all that stuff. And listen, if they better be careful this week.
Yeah,
the Cowboys, because that team's pretty decent too. They've been playing really well the last 4 or 5 weeks. They'll jump up and nip you if you're looking ahead to Philly.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, with wins, they ask how many, not how. So they got the win. They move on. All right. Now we have some interesting games that we're going to talk about today in the Pick 6 segment. So let's move on to that. You guys know the rules. It's me versus Yujita for the whole of the regular season. We pick against the spread, over under for 3 games. 1 point for each correct pick, 2 points if we beat Coach, who is our expert. And then if we look at last week, Coach, 4 out of 6. Good expert showing there. Yujita beating me on a couple of over-unders there and sneaking in 2 more points than I did. 5 points to Yujita, 3 points to me. So you extend your lead again. It was a 2-point lead. Now it's a 4-point lead, 50 to 54. So with that, let's move on to the first game that we're looking at. We kind of talked a little bit about it, but let's talk about it in more detail. The Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. Inclement weather there, Coach. How does that affect the odds?
Predicted in the snow. The odds have not changed at all really since opening. It's still the Bills at -7.5. The over-under opened 44, opened 42, now dropped down to 41.5. So -7.5 Buffalo and 41.5 over-under.
All right. I'll get started with this one. I mean, the way that I'm looking at it, it's bad weather. Miami are not used to that weather. They're coming from a 2-game losing streak. They were beat by Buffalo. Actually, no, they beat Buffalo 21-19.
They beat Buffalo. Yep.
21-19 in that last one. If you remember that snap at the end, Josh Allen could not.
In the heat.
Yeah, in the heat, and Josh Allen couldn't get the snap out at the end, and the clock ran out. So Buffalo are coming in with revenge on their mind. Tua's rating has been under 80 for 2 games in a row. Waddle has had a total of 40 yards in the last 2 games. The Bills have held their opponents' quarterbacks at an average less than 80. So I think with all of that, the Bills are too strong. They're more used to the weather. I think it's going to be under, but I have them Miami 7, Buffalo 23. So I have Buffalo winning a good game. They're going to run the ball. Josh Allen is going to throw the ball as well. Stephon Diggs is going to be able to get some separation. So I've got Buffalo and the under there. Yujita.
Yeah, I think Buffalo's got this. Apart from the percentage stats and everything, Tua's throwing has been completely off last couple of weeks. I don't know what's happened there. And they haven't run Raheem Mostert. I don't know what's going on there. They could use Waddle and Hill and try to get the defenses to play back, but they haven't run that either. So it's cold. Tua not playing well. Buffalo's got this. They've got to keep winning to keep Casey off their back. Let the postseason run for Buffalo. So I think Buffalo's going to win this, but I'll keep it over 27-17.
All right. So you've got it going over. Coach.
Interesting. In my history with Vegas, the half point around a touchdown always scares me. That 7.5 has hurt me so often. So I'm actually going to take Miami, not to win the game, but to cover the 7.5.
Okay.
I can see this like a late touchdown, like a 24-17 game where it looks like Buffalo's throttling them and it's fine, and then they sneak one in at the end. What do we call that, Yujita? A backdoor cover.
You know more about that.
Like the under. Yeah, I just see the inclement weather. There's too much snow going on. I don't see either team scoring a lot. So, yeah, I'll take the under, but I'll take Miami to cover the 7.5.
Super. All right. Let's move on to game number 2, an NFC South barn burner there. Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. Coach?
So New Orleans at -4, over under 43. I just put it in here because it has direct impact on how the little trip to the playoffs can happen for Carolina, depending upon which team wins this game.
Right. Ujita, get us started with this one.
I mean, tiebreaker-wise, Carolina has a better bet in this division. I think they are 3-1 in division. So
yeah,
look, I don't know. This game, it's all about what's happened to Marcus Mariota. Did he quit the team, or what's going on with Atlanta there?
Did he quit or was he benched? I think.
So he got benched, and then he quit, and then he said, "Well, while I'm quitting, I'm going to have knee surgery."
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Matt Ryan Indianapolis deal a couple of weeks back. So, and who's playing that? Desmond
Ritter.
Desmond Ritter. Yeah. Let's ride. Let's
ride. There's Broncos country. Let's ride. Yeah. No, he's a Ritter, not a rider.
I think I don't know what to say too much about this game, except Saints at home, so I'm going to give them the benefit. Their defense has been better in a few weeks, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here. 24-17 Saints.
24-17. Okay.
Yeah.
Now for me,
a point.
I know that New Orleans are going to be back from a bye week. The problem is with Marcus Mariota and the Atlanta Falcons is they've always used the running game as their preferred mode of transportation, right? They haven't been able to throw the ball. I think with Desmond Ritter, and I need to make up some ground with the point deficit that I have to you, Ujita. So I'm going to go with Atlanta.
Go for it.
And I think Desmond Ritter is going to be able to throw the ball. I think a lot of people argued that he should have been starting from his performance in the preseason. He had a good performance in the preseason. You can see me. I'm just reaching for reasons here to pick Atlanta and sound intelligent about it. So I'm going to go for Atlanta 27, New Orleans 24. So yeah, Atlanta and the over. Coach?
I think you've been visiting that place where the Green Bay quarterback gets his good stuff. First Carolina and now Atlanta. I'm just not sure here, bud.
They're going off the end.
Yeah, I do think New Orleans wins this. I think they win it pretty handily. I think they've kind of figured out their identity as under a new coach. Taking them 15 weeks, 14 weeks to kind of get that. I think they're playing better. I'm still not thinking the Red Rocket's all the Red Rocket. So I'll think New Orleans will cover, but it'll go under.
It will go under. All right, cool. Let's move on to game number 3, the Tennessee Titans at the Los Angeles Chargers. 2 underachievers this season. Coach, what are the odds?
Chargers -3 at home, over under 46.
Over under 46. Can you believe that both of these teams are 3 games away from the top of the conference? I mean, this is the kind of season that we're having. You know, they're playing bad, they're underachievers, but they're 3 games away from the top of the conference. For me, this is simple. You know, I think when everybody's healthy at the Chargers, you know, you've got Herbert, you've got Eckler, you've got Mike Williams, and you've got Keenan Allen. They're pretty much unstoppable. I think injuries have been, you know, their Achilles heel this season. Tennessee have had 0 sacks versus Jacksonville in their loss, the 36-22 loss last week. So I don't see Tennessee doing anything. Herbert was 107.3 rating, 39 out of 51 throws, 367 yards. Too much firepower with the Chargers. I wanted to go for a shutout prediction, a 40-0, you know, but I'm gonna keep it 30-10. I'm gonna give, you know, 10 of these points over to the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry's back. He had a couple of fumbles last week, but let's keep it respectful. So 30-10 LAC and the under. Ujita, go ahead.
Look, this is why I'm saying the Chargers are going to be a pain in the ass if they make the playoffs. You know, can you imagine with everyone back, Slater, Bosa? I mean, this is a team to worry about. Tennessee, man, Derrick Henry's back. He can do I think he had 96 yards in the first quarter last week, and you know, still they couldn't do much. And the main reason is Tannehill hasn't got that receiver. That Treylon Burton's hurt.
Yeah, he plays for Philadelphia now.
Well, AJ, I mean, they're obviously
what a mistake that was. I mean, AJ Brown has been killing it with Philadelphia. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, and they had what's the guy, Treylon Burton. And now he's injured, and he's hurt, so he was the only one. And Tannehill hasn't got anywhere to go except Derrick Henry.
Right.
And if he gets shut down, that's not going to happen. So I think they're on a downward trend. I don't really see anything big from them. You said 30-10, did you?
Yeah.
I'm going to say 30, but 30-17 though.
30-17. So you're going to go 1 point on the over.
Yep.
Oh, it's 49.
It's 49. I thought it was 46.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
you said
No, that's the
46.
tiebreaker. 46. You're right.
46. All right. Yeah. So just the
1
over.
point over. Yep.
All right. You beat me on the over-unders last week. I hope I can return the favor this week. Coach?
I just don't think Tennessee has enough on offense to score enough points to put this game in the overs. I just can't see it. And I think both of you were right in how well the Chargers are starting to play. I wouldn't fear them in the playoffs yet necessarily. I also think their quarterback's finally healthy with that rib injury. I think it took him 4 or 5 weeks. So I will go with the Chargers here, but I'm going to go the under.
All right. So Chargers to cover and the under. Now, the tiebreaker, I mean, this is the one where we start missing our old friend, Mark Sherman.
This would be the week.
Philadelphia, Chicago.
This would be the week.
He would know that they're losing, but he'll still give you all the trash talk that he can come up with and go in there confidently.
Bears to cover, 35-0.
35. So what are the odds for this one? How far behind are Chicago on this one?
So surprisingly, the line seems a little low to me. Again, it's maybe something Vegas knows. By the way, I have a player question for us in the Detroit game before we finish. But it's -9 for Philly, over under surprisingly high at 49. Are they really expecting Chicago to score that many points?
I don't know.
I don't know. I just, man, first of all, I hope Chicago does. I'd like to see them cover.
Yeah.
It would make me happy. They're not going to beat Philly. I just don't see that in the cards unless Philly just is overlooking them to get to Dallas. But I think they're too well coached to do that. I think it's probably a blowout as much as I don't want it to be. I just don't think the poor Chicago Bears are there.
24-21, I would go for the Philly.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
24-30. We're not going to pick the Bears.
We're not going to pick 30. 24-21. It's the weeks that I don't pick them to score 30 that they score 30. So it would be nice to give Yujit a bit of a hard time next week if that happens. So let's see.
This would be the week, though. This is when I was looking at the games, I went, oh, man. Yeah, and
should have covered this.
We'll do the Mark Sherman next week, our traditional crazy sweater. And
that's right.
That's next week. We got to have that tradition.
That is right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So here's a quick question. Oh, sorry.
Detroit.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying. I mean, the one team that's capable of pulling upsets in that division right now is Detroit, and you had a question about Detroit, so take it away.
All right. So we very much disrespected those Minnesota Vikings. How dare us? So did Vegas, and lo and behold, Detroit blows them.
You picked Detroit. You picked Detroit. Me and Eugene
did.
Minnesota. Yeah,
I didn't. Yeah. So here's just off the top of your head. In that game amongst both teams, who led the rushing? Who was the person who had the most rushing yards in that game for either team?
Well, not Dalvin Cook.
No idea. I would say.
Jared Goff.
Jared, you have a guess?
I'll say, DeAndre Swift.
All right. His name is C.J. Moore. He's a defensive back.
Oh.
And on the fake punt, he ran for 49 yards, and that was the leading rusher of the game for both.
There you go. There you go. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Welcome to Michael's House of Fun.
That was a
thank you very much for
that good cover stat right there.
Yeah, there was definitely not anything in Vegas of the over/under rushing yards for C.J. Moore.
For C.J. Moore, that's for sure.
All right. Okay, I have one for you. All right. Jalen Hurts, one of 2 QBs to have 10 rushing TDs in 2 seasons. Who's the other one?
10 rushing. Cam Newton. It has to be Cam Newton.
I was going to say Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
That's the only thing he was able to do. He couldn't throw a ball to save his life, but he could rush for those touchdowns.
He could rush.
Yeah. One year, didn't he have like 14 rushing touchdowns, but 12 of them are quarterback sneak or something?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Something like that.
Sneaky, all right.
Even when he came back for 5 minutes last season, the second play that he was in, it was a quarterback sneak, and he gave us the back, like that.
Boy, were we wrong.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
He wasn't back.
Well, we all believe in Sam Darnold to take us to the playoffs right now and give your Dallas Cowboys a hard time. Let's see. Watch the Pittsburgh Steelers just
They're not
completely
my
destroy
Dallas
us
Cowboys.
now.
Not my Dallas Cowboys.
I think you had a query on Sam Darnold when he'd go over under.
Oh yeah, we did have a player over under
170 yards, didn't you?
So Sam Darnold against Pittsburgh over under 176.5. Keeping in mind that the Pittsburgh pass defense is rated number 28 at giving up 225 a game this year.
Well, Sam Darnold, in all the games that I've seen him, has done nothing but favors to all of the defensive statistics of his opponents. So I'm not going to hold my breath there.
Wait a minute, we're on the Carolina bandwagon.
Listen,
Whoa.
I think, hold on.
We can definitely
Half
beat
the
Pittsburgh.
show
I'm
was
liking
about
that.
Carolina.
Come on.
Hold on. I think we win the game, but I think it's because of the running. Chuba Hubbard, Dante Freeman. Those are the guys that ran for 74 yards each last week. Yeah. Those are the guys that are going to get us through.
Look, it serves him better to keep it under that 170 yards because you want to keep it on the ground. You want to protect the ball and just win the damn game.
Yeah.
So
if he throws for that 170, that's 3-4 interceptions.
You're done.
Yeah. I'll give you a coaching viewpoint. I'm actually going to pick the game because I dug into this a little bit. And Pittsburgh is the worst team in the league this year defending the screen.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
And your running backs have been very good. I can see some screen games, and that's probably going to put him over because it is a pass over the 176.5. So I'm going to go over and go Carolina.
24-14, Carolina. There you go. You have a score as well.
Go Panthers.
All right. On that note, we'll wrap it up. This has been Sports Unhinged. We'll see you next week for a festive episode. Until then, take care.
Adios.
Bye, guys.